All right, welcome to the Wednesday edition of the SNews here at LonghornStation.com with Ahmad Brooks. I'm John Medani of the Wake Up Call, and quite a stink this morning with regards to the Heisman votes. Yes, the votes were due Monday afternoon, 4 o'clock Austin time. This morning, the Statesman revealed how their 4 eligible ballots looked. Kirk Bowles has a vote, Mark Rosner has a vote, Randy Riggs have a vote, all longtime employees with the Statesman, and Suzanne Halliburton has a vote. She's been there a long time, too, and is the beat writer for the Longhorns. Suzanne had Colt McCoy number 1. The other 3 that I mentioned all had Ndamukong Suh number 1 and Mark Ingram number 2 with Colt McCoy number 3. All took the time to justify why they made their picks. Still raised distinct with some of our callers, and I think with my on-air partner as well.
What do you mean? I mean, if this race were a blowout race, if the Heisman, we could give it away, and we could have given it away last week, fine. I'm okay with that. But here's the problem that I have with the way that the voting has taken place from the Austin American Statesman writers. The problem I have is, if it's such a close race, yeah, okay, so you vote Suh number 1. Fine. That's okay. If you think he's the best player, John and I both felt like he deserved a place on that Heisman podium. There's no doubt about it, and he deserves that trip, and he's earned that. Secondly, you put Mark Ingram there. I'm not so sure about that. You've watched Colt McCoy this entire time. You've only seen those guys maybe a handful of times. You've seen Colt McCoy each and every week. You've seen him develop as a player throughout his career. When it talks about the most outstanding player, he's the unquestioned leader, no doubt about it. I personally feel that Ndamukong Suh has not won any games for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Mark Ingram, Trent Richardson is a guy who's a freshman who's averaging 5.1 yards a pop, 11 carries, 80 yards against the number 1 ranked defense in the country. All I'm saying is I think they could have done it without him. Greg McElroy, 17 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. In my opinion, you take Colt McCoy out of this lineup, no-brainer. Texas might win 7 games. It's just that simple. And that's why I think he's the most outstanding player. No, he doesn't have to be the top of your list if you hand me a vote. But he certainly should be the second guy in this race. And I think it's crazy that you have people in this region who wouldn't vote a guy that they've watched all year long, matter of fact, all 4 years long, and not give him at least the honor of being the second guy behind the guy who you think is your top choice.
Now, a couple of things here. To be fair, Kirk went out of his way in his column to point out to his readers that last year when Sam Bradford won it, he put Colt McCoy first and said Colt deserved to be first last year, should have won it last year. The season he had was amazing. If you think back to, and he went on to say Colt just simply didn't duplicate what he did a year ago. Statistically, that's true. Tim Tebow, the year after he won the Heisman 2 years ago, last year, his team won the national championship. Tebow did not have, statistically, a great follow-up year to his Heisman year, did not repeat as Heisman Trophy winner. So we'll just establish that. I think it's, with the guys from the Austin American Statesman, you know, and you've had your share of beautiful women on your arm.
No doubt.
So, you know, familiarity breeds contempt. The longer you spend with somebody, the more you see their flaws. You may walk in here with an unbelievable woman, and I would look at her and say, that woman is perfect. But I'll bet you could tell me 3 things about her that aren't perfect.
That's a good point.
Because you know her better than everybody else. And maybe the guys who've covered Colt for 4 years now, yes, they know he's great, but they also know his flaws. And that's the thing. The guys in Alabama, they can tell you what Mark Ingram doesn't have to his game. On the West Coast, they can tell you what Toby Gerhardt is missing in his game. I mean, it's, you know, it'll be amazing to see whenever they release the regional votes how this works out and who voted for whom in which region.
With that, I also think that you know their strengths, and that's the problem that I have here is because you've seen Colt McCoy mature and grow, and no doubt about it, I do think even though his numbers aren't as good, I think that Colt McCoy is a better football player. You know why? His team went undefeated, and he was the unquestioned leader, and he did it with some question marks at the running back position. He lost Quan Cosby, who I know you love and adore, and who thinks he was one of the best wide receivers to ever play here. I just really do think that Colt this year has really proven to a lot of people throughout the country that he can help his football team win games and go to the national championship.
One thing for sure, if it's a wide margin and Colt isn't really close to winning it, this whole story goes away. If Colt loses by just a few votes, people are going to start looking a lot closer, not only at who didn't vote him first, but who didn't vote him second.
You hear that?
And instead had him at number 3. Join us again tomorrow, 6 a.m. for another edition of the Wake Up Call on AM 1300 The Zone.